Hello.
Nice to see you again.
It is good to see you.
Um, I met you at Loyola University, the Laureate campus, which is retreat and ecological campus,
Mm-hmm.
where there's a lot of forest and greenhouse out there. Um, we were both facilitators there, and you are, of course, were a senior leader there. You knew everything what to do. Thank you for training me.
You were welcome. Thanks for kicking butt and making things easy.
Thank you. One of the things I kind of remember most was my training, and the one puzzle or challenge we had was the maze, the rope maze.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the last one inside the maze, and the answer was you had to ask for help, and you would have gotten out just like that. So it really taught me that maybe I am a little bit more stubborn than I knew, you know? So I really miss facilitating. I wish it would come back.
It's coming back in pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now?
Now I'm working with a financial group out of Chicago. I figure if I can't help people, in the woods playing games, I might as well help them hold on to their money.
But either way, you're always a helper of people, that's for sure. You're a lover, a giver, and a great poet. And did you just publish a new book?
Recently, I just came out with Hell Creek, which is my first self-published collection. So I figure I put up an Etsy store for that. I'm looking to do something either at the end of this year or next year, like another collection. It's in progress, but it's not out yet.
So when you say you self-published, does that mean you paid for everything yourself and put it on Amazon? Is that what that means?
There are different things. Like you can go to Amazon and they have a publishing thing that they do. I didn't do that. I just put the whole thing together and then found a printer to make a whole bunch of copies for me.
Oh, so it's not even online. It's just something you did physically. And how many did you print? And how many pages is the book? Just for the average person, if we wanted to go do it ourselves, how much would it cost us to do something like that?
It really depends on the printer. Like Hell Creek was full color, so it cost me a lot. So it cost me more because it's not just poems, it's poems and artwork and pictures from a dinosaur dig that I went on.
Oh.
Yeah.
What? You want to talk about that? Tell us more.
Sure.
Dinosaur dig. I saw pictures on Instagram.
Yeah, I was lucky enough that this comes in pieces. So I live in Kenosha, Wisconsin now.
Yes.
Before I moved up here, I lived in Chicago Heights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm obviously geographical, but but Kenosha County has a Poet Laureate program. And they named me the 2018-2019 Poet Laureate, which was super cool.
Yeah.
And they also have a couple colleges in the area, including Carthage College. Carthage College has a paleontology department, which is led by Dr. Carr, who's also a poet.
Oh.
So they go and do dinosaur digs annually. Well, maybe not annually as of COVID, but outside of COVID, they would go annually and do work. And they invited anyone from the Poet Laureate or the Poet Laureate Commission to come with them. So I went and I got to dig up dinosaurs and there are pictures and, it was a great time and I wrote a whole bunch of stuff about it. So I figured I should put that out as a book.
And how many poems did you get from it? How many poems did you write?
There are not this many in the book, but probably about a good 30 poems or so from the dig. Yeah. I'm a binge writer, so that's...
Oh, okay. Did you start writing them when you were there or when you got home?
I wrote the first piece like at the airport before I went there, but I kept writing like maybe a week afterwards. So I mean, I didn't write out in the field or anything like that because there's just too much work to do. But, and I guess I did most of the writing afterwards, because now that I'm thinking back to the experience, most of us were in like one place. So there wasn't a lot of like alone time where you could just pull something out and get a whole bunch of writing done.
Right.
So
what grade did you get in the class?
I was a volunteer, so no grade for me.
Oh, okay. And that's your third book of poetry, correct?
That is my second full-length book.
Okay.
And I say it that way because I also have a couple of chapbooks and an art book. So chapbooks are smaller books, like too small to have a full spine. So those are just kind of stapled together or tied together, whatever the publisher does. So I have a couple of smaller books like that, and then I have one art book, which is like a large sheet of paper that's folded into a small pocket book, filled with business card sized broadsides, which are poetry and art.
And where can people find these books if they wanted to look at them?
If they wanted to look at them, everything that all the stuff I have is on my Etsy page, which is it's etsy.com/shop/SDpoetry, ESTEPOETRY.
Okay, I'll put all your links up when we're done.
Sweet.
Are you on Amazon at all then, or just?
I am.
You are, okay.
Yeah, like Things I Learned the Hard Way, which is my first full length. That's on Amazon. That'll also be at the publisher Plainview Press and other bookstore sites. And on Amazon, you can find my author's page. That way you can see like different chapbooks or other anthology books that I've been in.
Were you published before you made your own books and got published? Were you published in other anthologies or anything before that?
Yeah. The self-publishing is very new to me.
Okay. So basically, you've always been published in other things, then you decide to do it yourself.
Give or take, less always, but but yeah, I did manage to, have a full-length publication, get into anthologies and stuff beforehand. And
how do you get published in those things? Like how do you go about it?
So lots of times for some of the smaller publications, you literally meet the people. There are conferences, there are shows, you go out, you do things, people be like, oh my God, I love that. Why don't you submit that to this publication I'm a part of?
Oh.
Outside of that, there's a lot of great resources. Poets and Writers, the magazine, they have a great site that has all sorts of publications and anthologies you can submit to. They have sections like that in the back of their magazine. So I've gone through a lot of those, and I find that you start to develop relationships with publishers and editors, where if they've seen your work once, like if you've been submitting and they enjoy your work, they might say, hey, this next issue is coming out. I would love to see one of your pieces for it. And that's not a guarantee by far, but
right. Well, that makes sense. Just like any other business, right? You have to have relationships where you build connections and people get to know you and what style you write, right?
Yeah. If somebody was like watching this and trying to find places to go to, I'd also suggest that they hop on Submittable, because a lot of places go through Submittable and it'll organize those things for you, where you can just search for the sort of thing you write to find places to send things to.
I think I've been on Submittable. I mean, huge publications are on there, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a good idea. Want to say that again?
If you're looking to get your work somewhere, I would definitely suggest hitting Submittable. I would suggest hitting the Poets and Writers website, and I would suggest hitting whatever writing conferences, workshops, things that you can get your hands on.
So are there conferences in this area, in the Chicagoland area, that you go to?
I'm actually terrible at going to conferences.
That's why I like the new webinar system. You know, you can watch stuff on here and on YouTube now, and it's just so much easier, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
So the other night you had a poetry reading, Thursday, and what was that? Like, and it was at an art gallery?
So, I live in Kenosha, which is right next to Racine. And Racine has an art gallery and some exhibits. So at the art gallery, they're currently having an exhibit that they wanted to do a poetry night for. So a gentleman named Nick Ramsey, who is the absolute best, former poet laureate of Racine, got together a group of poets to go check out the exhibit, find all the different sorts of really cool artwork they had there, and write some pieces based on it. And then the night on Thursday was us getting together there to perform those pieces for the audience and just kind of go through and really check out the show. They called it Cultural Reflections.
So did you read poetry next to a picture you liked or a piece of art, or was it just a stage in the art gallery? Like, was it related to the art in any way?
We had a couple pieces that were about the gallery in general. I'm not so good at that sort of thing. But the poets who did perform those, and then we literally took the audience on a tour where we went to the different areas of the exhibit, and then we performed the poetry next to the artwork.
Oh.
That it commented on.
So did you do that, or?
Mm-hmm.
You did. What piece of art did you pick up?
I performed for 3 different pieces. One was a piece called When We Were Kinder. There was a piece called The Drummer, and then the last one was Sophia. Like twin siblings told apart by fashion, not so secretly wishing we shared a home or a family. Like we were a set of Legos, a bouquet of peonies, where we could easily trade off older brothers who still needed decades to love us without swinging fists for the split soul we knew that we shared. In black and white photographs, decades before we were even dreamed of, a brother and sister saw our wish dancing on wind towards the earth and caught it between their fingers like a falling snowflake. At 30, we were further. Like dandelion seeds breathed into the wind, finding different pockets of the earth to plant roots, and I sat at your mother's house, drinking with family, you the only hole at the table as we held drunken vigil for our dying matriarch. In black and white photographs, we were always brought back together over birthday parties and in church pews surrounding the tiniest pool imaginable. At 9, we were rowdier, wrestling like the referee was knocked out, like my brothers always did, like your older brothers needed to. Every pointless argument suddenly balled up fists serious. In sun-faded photographs, the coat you always wore loses a string, and I can't help but pull despite knowing it will unravel. At 40, we are kinder. Somehow even further away, word of your impending nuptials, a whisper, a phantom carried on foreign winds, the connection of youth solid as a snowflake, held tightly in warm and caring hands. The drummer knows mosh pit etiquette. The drummer has seen things that would bleach a soul. Tear everything out till all materials are raw. The drummer didn't write what he's playing. The drummer has a sprite hiding behind his kit, far away from his pedals. Sometimes, when his eyes are closed, the drummer can hear the heartbeats of dinosaurs and dragons. Lets his sticks push those vibrations into the air. The drummer's hands hold the playlist for his life, wrinkles and calluses like a wax record ready to be played. The drummer never knows what he's going to roar forth with from his kit, but he trusts that more than his own eyes. Sophia has heard the venom in your Groundhog Day words. Knows days like the back of the moon, so rarely kissed by the sun, every river has run salty from cheeks. Sophia has filled a necklace of ears with all the opinions of who she should be and what she should do, meowling cats repeating the same calls, pretending to be the fates themselves. But most of all, Sophia blazes forward like a comet, flown free into space, too happy, too driven for small souls like us, too used to talking about everything she isn't. Wow.